Hi guys, it's Claris, and today we are going to do a tutorial on pretty much the same theme we've been doing all of January, which is using simple strokes to create something pretty and also getting used to watercolor. So it'll be another sort of basic video, but it's also important when it comes to creating florals like this, which are kind of very soft and they kind of blend into each other, and they're super simple like your 5-petal florals, and they're great for filler florals as well. Earlier in the week we did this, and this is what I had done as I was practicing along, so this is something you know already. We're gonna go on to something like this, and I've done the same thing over here, as you can see. Just been practicing, and we're gonna try and make it monochromatic. So for the sake of these small florals, we're going to use brushes number 4 in the Silver Black Velvet, and then the Escoda number 2, just because they're small and we need these florals to be small. For my paper, I am using Canson Watercolour, and for my colors, I am using, this time we're going to be using the Daniel Smith colors that I have in the quinacridone rose, and I believe the orangey color is the equivalent to the red cadmium red light that we've been using for the past few tutorials. I'm just trying to find, oh, here we go. Right, it's the Pearl Scarlet. So we're just going to be using a combination of them both, and I have some pre-mixture. I even have some yellow. So for that you can use your cadmium lemon yellow. I believe that's the cadmium lemon yellow that I have on there. And we're just going to be dipping in here and there. I also have some green in case I want to do some leaves, because I like to kind of always complete the painting as I go along, as opposed to just showing one aspect to it. So let us begin. Alright, so for the sake of this tutorial, I've kind of really zoomed into my sheet, or onto my sheet, so that you can see what I am doing. I'm going to be starting off with my number 2 Escoda, and I just have the palette here visible for you so you can see what I am doing. So the first thing I want to do is, you can see how it's super light. Because these florals are going to be light, I've already, like the little mixture that I have in here should be good enough, but we do want to start off dark at the bottom and then kind of go off into lighter. So I'm just going to get some extra quinacridone rose in a darker shade, and mix that onto the side here, and this is like a lot more consistent or opaque compared to that one there. So just gonna dip the tip in water, and because while I want it to be dark, I also want it to be damp onto my sheet here. So retain its dampness longer is what I'm trying to say. Alright, so these are going to be your basic 5-petal florals, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to start off over, where can you see clearly? Okay, right here in the middle. And we're going to do like 3 of them, just sporadic. So there's one stroke. I'm dipping the tip of my brush in water, doing my next stroke. Then I'm going to do a petal on this side. And I'm just like using my brush to press down. Every time I'm doing a new petal, I'm kind of dipping into water to get additional dampness onto my brush. And I want to touch the sides of these petals that I've already laid down. And we want to keep it very, very loose. Alright, so there's one. I'm going to do another one. I'm just adding some color in the center before I do the next one. So the next one, I'm going to go ahead and do it right over here. So 1, 2. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and leave some white space in between the petals. It's kind of hard to do when I'm trying to even like also touch the petals together, but try and leave some white space, because that is the whole technique behind the loose watercolor. So again, when you see my hand go off screen, it's me dipping the tip of the brush in just color on the side. And now, I know I said I'll do 3, but I can see it kind of drying up really quickly. So I'm going to get my number 4, mix it with the light pink that I have, and I'm going to just go ahead and create the same thing that I've done, but in a lighter shade. So because this is supposed to be basic and for beginners, I suggest you just kind of use this as a fabulous exercise to learn your blending and at the same time also get that flower down packed. So I'm going to do one over here because this is nice and dark and damp. So I'll pretend like this floral that we're doing is behind this darker floral. So I'm just adding the 2 petals and then maybe like a peeking one at the top here. So it looks like it's behind it. Again, I'm going to get some more of the lighter color and I'm going to just do some petals over here. Now, the whole idea as you're doing petals between florals is to kind of get in the impression that these are in the back, and you're just adding a little bit of pink to the center to kind of have it flare out as well. Okay, and that will kind of determine where the center is. Then we're going to go back and continue our little motion or technique for creating these petals. And here's one more, and I'll just make this a floral that's like off to the side this way. So notice how as I continue creating these florals, I am adding a little bit of pink to the center, and then I am also doing it a lot quicker than the previous ones. And I'm even going to, at this point, get some of the Pearl red and create some using that on my brush right here. So try and practice the white space as I'm mentioning, especially for the center. Make sure that it's wide enough that you are able to kind of go in and add some of your own darker tones of that color that you've used, because that is the center, right? And let's do one over here. And I know I'm doing florals that are kind of, not all of them are facing upward, like bird's eye view. But if you want to get used to the bird's eye view concept first, and then branch out into the side ones and then hints of petals peeking out, absolutely do that, because the practice is a lot of fun that way, and especially when you're blending florals. So over here it's just petals that are kind of tweaking upward or pointing upward. And then again, you can even like take your brush, wash off the color, and just go back in and create petals that are protruding from or create florals that are protruding from the color you've just laid down. But it doesn't necessarily have to be super dark. It can be just extremely light like that, and you still have a nice effect happening. And now it almost looks like this is getting to be like a very circular bunch. If you have an idea of what shape you want it to be, whether it's like going upward, tall, or downward, I would suggest definitely kind of keeping that in mind before trying these. But for now, I'm just gonna kind of do a couple more so you can see how it's kind of shaping up, and you can also see the strokes that I'm doing to achieve this effect. And I'm pushing all the color to the center, guys. So don't forget that. Then again, I'm always dipping the tip of my brush in water just so I can get a nice enough dampness as I get back onto paper, because I want the paper to be damp long enough for me to be able to come back with perhaps even the yellow and like highlight certain areas with the yellow. And that just really adds to the whole painting as a whole, as you can see. So now I'm just going to get, using the number 2, just going to get some of the yellow and add it to the centers. Now the areas that are damp will give you a nice blend. The areas that aren't, you will see the colors are going to transition onto the paper in a lot more solid manner. And that's okay too, because watercolor, the effect isn't consistent throughout. So if you have a mixture of both, it gives you a nice array of maybe what's in the foreground, some in the background, some a little more detailed than the others maybe. So it's a loose style, it's supposed to be fun, and you know, just it's a repetitive pattern to kind of explore and get used to this wonderful medium of watercolor. Lastly, before I end, I'm going to do a couple of leaves. I'm going to leave it in this manner right here, but I'm just mixing some of my green, and I will get some leaves happening just off to the side. If you haven't checked out the leaf tutorial, which was part 1 in this series of basic watercolor, I suggest that you check out part 1 of the series. I have created a playlist, so you can check that out as well in order. Now that was a little bit too much water, as you can see, so that's why I like to keep my paper towel handy, so I can just dab it away and so it doesn't like stain too much. So there you go. But I'm trying to be a little intentional with my leaves and try to leave some white space in between. So pressing down and then dragging away. There we go. And then maybe get like a darker version of this green and just do another version, another leaf kind of just like on the side there. See, for this leaf, I wasn't able to get a white space in the center, or white space in the center, not a. And that's okay. Sometimes it doesn't show up, and you just move on and create other ones and try and get the white space, because the point of this is not to achieve consistent results, but to kind of try new things and get new results that you might end up really liking. So yeah, that's how I do the leaves. And I think that's enough to kind of give you an idea of what you can do with something as simple as this. So I hope you guys like this tutorial. It is supposed to be quick and short and just give you an idea of how you can kind of add more to your florals. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought, and please share your work with me on Instagram and Facebook. My links are in the description below. If you're wondering what products I'm using, that's also listed in the link below. And if you enjoy these tutorials, guys, please like the video, consider subscribing to the channel, and I love hearing from you. So engage with me in any platform, I guess, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube comments. So thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll chat soon. Bye.